Happy Friday the 13th, everybody, and welcome back. So, for Friday the 13th, I just want to talk about three of my favorite horror movies of all time. By the way, horror is my favorite genre, and I think it's fitting today to talk about that. And I'll let you guys know, being the movie fanatic that I am, and what my favorite genre is, and what my favorite movies are in that genre. And it's not like I have like an order for these three. I love them all in different ways, so it's hard to actually rank them. And I know I'm only talking about three because after those three, then it just starts becoming hard what to call a favorite and what not. Like, there are so many different horror movies I love. And ironically enough, Friday the 13th, unfortunately, is not in this list. They're fun, entertaining movies, but they were never my favorite horror movies. All right, I'm going to get into the list and just discuss why each and every one's my favorite. They are all different from each other, so that's why it's hard to actually rank it. They're kind of like, they kind of divide into subgenres. So the first one I want to talk about is Halloween, the 1978, just because it's such a classic and it is the movie that started off a whole new genre for horror. I know Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out before Halloween, and that's a slasher film, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre does not have the impact that Halloween has. When you think of a slasher, Michael Myers is going to come into your head before Leatherface. Unless Leatherface is your favorite, then he will. But a majority of the people enjoy the Halloween movies more than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And the very first Halloween and the second one are just such well-written, creepy, put-together movies. The music score for it is brilliant. Just watch. You're used to it now because it's been around for 40 years, and we're used to that. Movies have just been copying it since then. But yeah, think about when that first came out. There is nothing else like it. I guess you had Psycho, but Halloween had more of the scare factor into it. And I just love how simple it is, just how simple the concept is. Just this creepy killer who doesn't say shit, walks around in this white mask and just walks. He doesn't run, and it's a creepy thing. And with the music that they play, it's awesome. The cast for it, the characters in it are good. The universe they set up was great until they started making 5, 6, 7, 8. Halloween's 1 and 2 are great. Halloween 3, we don't talk about on this channel because I don't count that. Sometimes I forget that movie even exists. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the newest Halloween movie that came out. I didn't dislike it. It's just that it was okay. It could have been better, but I'm not here to review that movie. And to be honest, I am a fan of the first Rob Zombie one. The second one is pure dog shit, but the first one I think is one of my favorite remakes of a movie. I just love the psychological depth of it. And it's a super dark take on it. It's different than the original one for sure. It's apples and oranges. And Michael Myers has always been my favorite serial killer, and that's why I feel like Halloween remains the best slasher of all time because let's face it, Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, those are classics too, but they're more silly. They're more entertaining than actually creepy. Come on, Freddy Krueger is not scary. He's awesome, he's hilarious, and they're really entertaining movies. And once again, Nightmare on Elm Street is a good concept, but it's not scary. I personally couldn't call that one of my favorite horror movies because it's supposed to be funny. And then they just become, you hear the term bad 80s movies, and that is exactly what those are. Friday the 13th would not exist if it wasn't for Halloween. It's literally Michael Myers in the woods. Came out a couple years after it, and I'm sure in the boardroom they were like, all right, well, it's Halloween did successful, let's come out with another slasher movie. All right, yeah, let's just put Michael Myers in there, but except we're gonna give him a hockey mask and he's gonna be in the woods killing teenagers instead of a neighborhood. It's literally what it is. And those become sillier after a while too. Hell, Michael Myers did not have a movie where he was in space. I mean, Friday the 13th just, I don't know what Friday 13th was doing in that franchise. And then it goes to Manhattan, and I don't know. It was just like, let's just watch Jason go to different places. But overall, they are fun, entertaining movies. I think Halloween just has a better horror impact amongst all those slasher movies. My next favorite that I want to talk about is the first Insidious. Now, I know to some people out there that the first and even just all the Insidiouses are another modern horror movie. And yeah, it is with it being supernatural and a house that's haunted and a kid that's possessed. Like I know we've seen that before. And I remember I was 13 years old when this came out. I saw it with a group of friends from school on a Friday night. I think like right when it came out too. And I walked in this movie thinking, and I was 13 at the time. So like movies like Haunting of Connecticut and Paranormal Activity were already out, and I wasn't scared by those. And like, I was already a big horror fan at that time. So I walked in this movie thinking, this is another modern horror movie, just another supernatural movie that's probably going to suck. That's just going to have cheap tactics and false jump scares where like, it's supposed to be a jump scare, but really it's just like someone's friend who's on the other side of the door. You know what I mean? But Insidious blew my fucking mind when I first saw it. And that movie, honestly, like I went home thinking like I'm okay. And then, like having to like look around in corners when I enter a room, have to like flick the lights on in my bedroom and keep the TV on to fall asleep too. It is honestly a chilling movie in my opinion, and it really blew my mind. It's like it's a average haunted house movie, and I love it. Once again, like Halloween, it's got a great music score, and it's like right from the beginning, the creepy violin and the dun 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 dun. You guys know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. It's got creepy music in it. It's got good acting and a decent story. I mean, it's an average story, but the acting in it's really good that it kind of gets you hooked into it. And just some of the scares in it are either, yeah, most of them are jump scares, but they're done right. They're not these cheap false jump scares that happen in like every movie nowadays that I don't get why exists. It's like we are here, like you are here to try to scare us. Do your job. And Insidious did a well done job with that. When you got jump scares like the dude who's by the grandfather clock and he's flipping through the different lights on his whatever you want to call it, his little camera or whatever. And then the two twin girls have the like creepy smile like this. And then they just like smile really quick and then disappear. Like that scared the fuck out of me. And like you see it coming, but like you don't know what it's gonna be. And like let's face it, dude, if you got creepy girls with smiles like that, that's gonna be scary. And then they get back into that later. And then they just have some chilling moments that aren't even like jump scares. And these are what I love. I love when it doesn't just have to be a jump scare. It's just chilling moments like these that stand out to me and make my hairs on my arm stand up a little bit. The one I specifically remember, and I'm one of the only people I know that was actually creeped out by this. I don't know why, but it's when Rose Byrne is taking out the trash and Tiptoe Through the Tulips is playing, and she looks through the window and you see the kid like rocking back and forth. I'm like, this is creepy to me. I don't know why. I remember like having my jaw dropped in the theater from seeing that. And no one else thought that was like scary. Like, okay, it's just a kid dancing. But I'm like, no, dude, imagine if that was you taking out the trash and you just see this kid just dancing in your living room and it's like from a distance. Like, that's some creepy shit, at least to me. And boy, was it chilling. And then when she goes to check on the baby at night and the dude's behind the curtain, it's just shit like that. Insidious is well put together, but like some of these good franchises, every movie got a little less good. The second one was, I think, had a really good story, but the scares weren't as good. And then we could just forget about the third and fourth one because they're terrible. All right, the last one I want to talk about that is one of my favorite horror movies of all time is Hereditary. Okay, so Hereditary, when you see the previews, once again, seems like it's going to be another modern supernatural horror movie. But then it got raved a lot by a lot of these critics. And the thing with Hereditary is that it doesn't have any jump scares. It's more of a if the story isn't going to catch you, then you're not going to find this scary. It's a psychological horror film, which is one probably my favorite genre for horror. Psychological. I love psychological horror. I love when shit messes with your head a little bit. And I love when a story can be very compelling and wants you to get invested into it and the characters, and you feel like you're in this experience with them. And that's exactly what Hereditary did for me. I mean, I by the time it was out, I saw it probably like 3 or 4 weeks after it was already in theaters. So I'm already hearing the hype about it. A lot of people are like, "This is the scariest movie I've ever seen. This is the Exorcist of our generation." And then a lot of people like, "What the fuck are they talking about? Like, this isn't scary at all. This is actually really boring." It is it is a slow burn. It really is. So like, if it's either going to scare you or it's not. It all depends like what you fear. But the thing I do respect about this movie, it's not relying on jump scares. Like, all right, well, it seems like everybody's just scared by loud noises really quick and then something pops out at you. No, it does not do that at all. And I am honestly going to get into some spoilers for this because with this movie, there is just some shit to talk about. Like, with the previews are a little misleading, but not in a bad way. This movie makes you feel like that, or well, no, the trailer makes you feel that the little girl is just going to be doing creepy little girl horror movie shit throughout the whole thing. And within the first, what is it, like 15, 20 minutes, goes to a party, has a peanut allergy, and tries to stick her head out the window to breathe. And then her brother like almost hits like a raccoon or a cat or something and swerves and then bop, knocks her head right off the pole. And I was like, what the fuck? And just the acting is so good that it makes you feel creeped out with it. Toni Collette, who plays the mother, she knocked it out of the park, and I'm a little upset that she did not get nominated an Oscar for her role in this, just because she plays this weird, crazy mother who is, this movie focuses a lot on grief and depression, and they use that as a scare tactic, honestly, because that, depression and grief and that can be true fear. They focus on what true fear is, and that's what has a lot of respect from me for this movie. And towards the end it does get a little not silly, but I guess more predictable. And the ending did have me feeling a little what the fuck, but the whole movie had me feeling what the fuck. And just what amazes me the most is that I'm like, I need to look up who made this movie, which is his name's Ari Aster. And it was his first full-length feature film. And then I saw that this is the guy, like it said under his IMDb, this is the guy who made A Strange Thing About the Johnsons. If you've never heard of it, I'm not going to tell you guys what that's about. We don't talk about that on this channel. But if you look up A Strange Thing About the Johnsons, you can kind of, and you've seen Hereditary and especially that new Midsummer movie because he made that, then you could see that this guy has got some demons and he's a little troubled up here. But by God, does he make some great fucking movies with it. But strange thing about the Johnsons is I don't know. It's a movie that you'll never want to see again. Yeah, just go on YouTube and watch it and see what you're in for. See if you like it or not. But Hereditary, I really enjoy it. And when I left that movie, and okay, I saw this movie last year. I was 21 years old. I literally, and I haven't felt this way about movies since probably the first Insidious, maybe Sinister. I'm not sure, to be honest. But I left the movie and I had a car ride by myself on the way home, and I literally had to give my friend a call, and I'm like, hey, I told her, I'm like, can you just talk to me on my way home? I just saw this movie and it honestly creeped me out a bit, and it it made me feel like something came back with me after this movie. Like I just don't feel right after watching this movie. So yeah, like if a movie has me feeling creeped out like that, that's how I know it's one of my favorites. Cause it did its job. It scared me, and that's exactly what horror movies do, and that's what a lot fail to do. So when movies like Hereditary and Insidious come out nowadays, it's rare. It's a rare gem, and I honestly really appreciate it, and I wish we got more of that nowadays, but unfortunately we don't. And I understand if everyone's opinions vary. Like some people love the Paranormal Activity movies. I think the first two, maybe three, I thought were like very well put together, and the first one especially because there wasn't really anything like it except Blair Witch Project. But it was creepy because you don't see what's going on, and then they just once again they kill a franchise, keep it going just to make money off of it, and they don't care what's in it. I mean, that's what I hate about horror movies. It's just kind of like a love-hate relationship. And, it's my favorite genre, but I just hate what it's turned into nowadays. So it's rare when these movies actually do its job and scares me. And I know everyone's opinions vary. Some of you guys probably hate Hereditary and Insidious, and I mean, hey, that's just everyone's opinions. But yeah, let me know what some of your favorite horror movies are. I wish I could like make a top 10 list for horror movies. Unfortunately, I can't because after these three, it's hard to tell like what's my favorite and what one I just really like, and then it's easy to come up with ones I hate. It's a lot of them because they suck. Thank you guys for watching. Please let me know in the comments what your favorite horror movies are. Everyone have a happy Friday 13th and stay safe out there because it's the day of bad luck. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace.